My name is Michelle, and this is my case reflection and analysis for R521 for summer of 2018. For my project, I am analyzing a learning situation that I have been in and currently am watching others in, and will identify two possible solutions to better this situation. The learning situation in this case is occurring at a small family-owned factory, specifically in Cell F, which is the production line I work on. This production line is having issues with gaps in job knowledge of new employees who have completed training, as well as time in which to train new employees. There are 5 different stations for Cell F, each one requiring one person to run the station. Station 1 consists of adding the gears to the housing to create an actuator. Station 2 then adds a circuit board to the actuator. Station 3 puts a cover on the actuator and screws it shut. Station 4 tests the actuator to ensure that it is functioning properly. Station 5 then adds the remaining pieces and boxes the actuator to be shipped. Following the design model in the Morrison book, the instructional problem is the gaps in knowledge of employees and time and space to train new hires. The learner analysis for this case includes the diverse set of people who work on this production line. There are 5 production employees, each one with ranging in education from high school through college, age 56 through 22, and factory experience from 20 years to none. The context analysis includes the 2 other people who work with the cell. There is 1 supervisor and 1 engineer who come and go from the cell as needed. Additionally, it is important to note that this production line is set up to have 5 stations and does not have a lot of extra space for people. The task analysis in this case is the development of a training program, which will include all of the necessary steps to create a quality functioning actuator. Each station has prints posted next to it, detailing step by step what to do for that station. Often, if the prints are used, they are mostly just skimmed instead of read. This idea of skimming the documentation instead of reading to learn is shared by Carol, who states people are not good at following procedures systematically. He also says people want to learn by doing, to reason things out instead of merely reading about them. In other words, people enjoy having choice and flexibility to learn on their own. Choice and self-teaching leads to a lot of trial and error, which comes up often during the training of people in Cell F. While this is helpful while learning, it can cause a lot of rework, taking time away from otherwise productive activity. Choice during training will be mentioned again later in this video. This particular production line builds a lot of products which are in high demand. This means that our supervisor often brings us orders, sometimes more than one, all at the same time. We also receive a lot of orders for this production line, and we need more people to fill these orders. Naturally, the supervisor tries to go out and find more people. Once he has interviewed and selected the new trainees, they come into the cell to be trained on the job. This tends to slow down production as the new trainees have not had time to perfect their technique and speed. Due to on-the-job training, it is not unlikely for the trainees to have a different trainer every day. This causes gaps in training because one trainer does not communicate with the other as to what the trainee has already been taught. These gaps become apparent as the training is believed to have been complete and the trainee begins to work on their own. Some of these gaps in training could be prevented if the trainees read the prints for each station for themselves. The prints cover every step that needs to be followed for each station. However, they tend to be very wordy and have some jargon in them and can be very intimidating for someone unfamiliar with the production at this facility. One way to help prevent these gaps is to have a detailed checklist for training, which includes every step to be covered. It would also help if the engineer reviewed these checklists to ensure that training has been completed. While this would be a great way to have on-the-job training for a single trainee, in the event of multiple trainees, it would likely be too crowded in the production cell to work. In the event of multiple trainees in need of training, another training solution must be developed and should occur outside of the production cell to allow production to continue in a less crowded area. In addition to the checklist, another training technique that could be implemented for this production line could include digital training transmitted through computer, in which the trainees would follow a step-by-step procedure on how to build the actuators presented on a computer. The trainees could then practice building an actuator with pieces provided to them by following a guide and prompts on the computer. This would give the trainees some real-life experience with the parts they will be using. Additionally, using digital learning methods would allow for some trial and error if part of the training included practice building the actuators digitally without prompts. The computer program could run the actuator, allowing the trainee to see the results of their work without affecting product. This would implement Malone's idea for motivation instruction of choice by allowing the trainee to choose how they are going to build the actuator and then see the results. Giving the trainee choice and control will also help pace the training to their needs, as mentioned in Morrison's book. For example, in the trial and error portion of the digital training, the trainee could be allowed to run as many simulations on actuators as they wish. This would allow them to troubleshoot many different situations. The program could also suggest edits to improve the actuator they have created to scaffold their learning. The assessment for digital training would be on-the-job production with an experienced employee checking the work of the trainee. Any issues that arise could be immediately addressed by the supervising employee. This factory currently has enough space for this sort of training and even room to add a few more computers, allowing for timely training of multiple trainees and increasing productivity swiftly. The addition of new trainees into the production line would allow this factory to reopen the second Cell F, potentially doubling production on this line. Motivation for this training is the success in obtaining full-time status for this job. External motivation for working in this facility includes pay for hours committed to task as well as occasional celebrations when large rush orders are completed. Internal motivation for working in this facility includes feeling of accomplishment and gratitude from the supervisor when these large orders are completed. Using Morrison's design model, I have identified instructional problems, performed learner and context analysis, as well as task analysis, identified motivation for trainees, and identified 2 possible training solutions for the problem of gaps and time constraints in training, and assessment for each. Thank you for watching.